Just over a week after the catastrophic July 4th flash flooding that devastated communities across Texas Hill County, claimed the lives of 132 people, and left more than 170 still missing, the region is now facing another round of severe weather. As if echoing the trauma of that tragic weekend, torrential rains returned to central Texas on Sunday morning, triggering new flash flood emergencies, prompting evacuations, and once again halting critical recovery operations. In Kempner, the Lampasas River rose explosively, from just 1.75 feet to 32.45 feet by mid-morning, coming within inches of the major flood threshold and further deepening the crisis for a region still reeling from disaster. Both the Lampasas and Saba rivers have seen substantial and dangerous water level increases. At Adamsville in Saba County, the Lampasas River rose by approximately 14 feet within 2 hours early Sunday. These sudden surges were driven by intense rainfall, with localized rates reaching up to 3 inches per hour in some areas. Overall rainfall accumulations exceeded 9 inches in Saba County, more than 6 inches at Colorado Bend State Park, a popular recreational area now closed due to flooding, and nearly 5.5 inches in Sonora. Other communities, including Killeen and Brady, recorded close to 5 inches of rainfall, stretching emergency response resources and compounding the risk for additional flash flooding across the region. In response to the rapidly rising waters and hazardous conditions, Colorado Bend State Park was closed for public safety. Road closures throughout Saba County have been implemented, including several low water crossings and county roads that became impassable under the floodwaters. Mandatory evacuation orders were issued for residents living in vulnerable locations, especially those south of the Saba River, east of Highway 16, and north of Wallace Street and Highway 90. Particular attention was paid to homes already damaged by the earlier floods, with emergency personnel conducting door-to-door notifications to ensure residents were informed and could move to higher ground or designated shelters. Kerr County, the epicenter of the July 4th disaster, and the hardest-hit region during that period, also faced renewed threats from rising floodwaters on Sunday. Emergency alerts warned residents of increasing water levels along the Guadalupe River, which had surged an extraordinary 26 feet in just 45 minutes during the initial July 4th flooding event. The town of Ingram, situated approximately 6 miles east of Kerrville, reported visible street flooding and expanding pools of standing water resembling swampy conditions, indicating the continuing threat to residential areas and infrastructure. These new flooding conditions have severely disrupted ongoing search and rescue efforts. More than 160 individuals remain unaccounted for following the July 4th floods, and the safety concerns posed by renewed rising waters forced all search teams to evacuate the Guadalupe River corridor on Sunday morning. Local authorities suspended active recovery operations pending stabilization of river levels. Forecast models suggest the river could again rise above flood stage, threatening key infrastructure such as the Highway 39 bridge near Camp Mystic, a site heavily impacted during the previous floods.
County Road 4330. So County Road 4330 is flooded out.
The flooding threat extends beyond Kerr and Saba counties. Surrounding counties including Lampasas, Schleicher, Menard, Kimball, and Sutton reported rescues and evacuations throughout the day. Multiple county roads and low-water crossings, such as County Roads 3,300, 2,313, 3,384, and 3,220, were closed due to high water. Highway 190, which spans the Lampasas River at Kempner, was closely monitored as floodwaters neared the bridge deck, raising concerns about potential structural impact and the safety of motorists. The National Weather Service issued flash flood warnings and flood watches across central Texas, assigning a level 3 out of 4 flood threat rating, signifying a significant probability of widespread and life-threatening flooding. Meteorologists report that this flooding event stems from a stalled upper-level weather system positioned between two high-pressure zones, producing persistent, slow-moving storm cells that delivered heavy and repeated rainfall throughout Sunday. Compounding the instability, a secondary weaker weather system contributed to the erratic atmospheric conditions, fueling ongoing thunderstorm development and further rainfall accumulation.
You should see all the hay bales we got floating down here.
I bet. Probably.
The soil saturation levels in central Texas remain critically high due to the July 4th storms, greatly reducing the ground's ability to absorb additional rain. As a result, heavy precipitation quickly converts to surface runoff, overwhelming creeks, rivers, and drainage infrastructure. Updated forecast guidance warns of localized rainfall totals reaching between 9 and 12 inches in some areas, with rivers such as the Guadalupe expected to rise rapidly and possibly exceed flood stage once again. Emergency responders across affected counties have taken decisive action to mitigate risk and protect residents. The Kempner Volunteer Fire Department evacuated 2 RV parks and relocated elderly residents living near vulnerable creek beds to safer locations. Law enforcement agencies emphasized the dangers of attempting to cross flooded roadways, reinforcing the critical need for residents to avoid flood-prone areas. In Bosque County, first responders rescued a man trapped in waist-deep water on a submerged bridge, a third rescue at that specific location in just 1 month. Meanwhile, in Sonora, local officials established a temporary shelter at the Civic Center to provide refuge for displaced residents as evacuations continued.
I'm getting in my little cabin, and we are stuck here. There's no way to get out. We can get to high ground real easy, but there's no way to get out of the camp because the roads are washed out. Cherokee Creek is on a tear.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott confirmed that multiple rescues had been carried out across several affected counties and emphasized that emergency services remain on heightened alert. State and local agencies continue coordinating response efforts focused on safeguarding residents and mitigating further damage amid this ongoing flood crisis. As the weather system persists, emergency management agencies maintain vigilant monitoring of conditions, preparing for continued flooding and anticipating the complexities of an extended recovery phase. Search and rescue operations are expected to resume as soon as river levels recede and conditions permit safe access. As always, thank you for watching. Stay safe and stay aware.
Yeah, okay.